Let me ask you something. Have you ever met someone whose presence spoke louder than their words? Someone who walks into a room and without trying commands respect, radiates warmth, and leaves people better than they found them. That's not magic, that's not luck, that is personality. And the best part, you can build it every single day. This isn't about impressing people. It's about becoming the kind of person you are proud to be when no one's watching. And if you're ready for real growth, not just surface change, then lock in. Because I'm about to share 7 powerful steps to improve your personality every single day. And if you live them, they won't just change how the world sees you, they'll change how you see yourself. There's something magnetic about a person who is fully present. You can feel it. They walk into a room, and without saying a word, they bring with them a quiet force, an energy that commands attention, not by demanding it, but by deserving it. This isn't about physical appearance or social status. It's about how they show up. In a world addicted to distraction, true presence has become rare and therefore powerful. When you own your presence, you become someone people remember, someone who doesn't need to speak loudly to be heard. Presence starts with attention. The most valuable gift you can give someone is your full, undivided attention. But how often do we actually give it? We sit with people while scrolling on our phones. We nod during conversations while our minds are miles away. We listen to reply, not to understand. And then we wonder why our relationships feel shallow, why we struggle to connect, why we feel invisible. Presence means silencing the noise, not just outside but inside. It means learning to be here, not in yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's worries, but in the richness of now. When you look someone in the eyes and really see them, when you listen with curiosity instead of judgment, you begin to shift how people experience you. You create space for real connection. People don't always remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And what makes people feel seen, valued, and safe is presence. Think about the people you admire most. Chances are, they made you feel like you mattered. Like in that moment, you were the only person in the world. That's not just charisma, it's emotional intelligence. It's choosing to be fully engaged. It's the discipline of bringing your whole self to every interaction, every conversation, every room. Presence is not passive. It's intentional. It's a choice you make, moment by moment, to show up with purpose and authenticity. Presence isn't just about how you engage with others. It's also about how you carry yourself. Your body speaks before your mouth ever opens. Stand tall, walk with confidence, breathe deeply, hold your space. You don't need to dominate to be powerful. There's strength in stillness, in grounded energy. Own your breath, own your posture, own your silence. People can feel whether you're shrinking or owning your energy, and the moment you begin to inhabit your own space fully, People respond differently, not because you said more, but because you became more. One of the biggest myths is that presence comes naturally to some and not to others. That's false. Presence can be built. It's like a muscle. You train it with practice. It begins with self-awareness. How do you enter a room? How do you greet people? Are you rushing, distracted, avoiding eye contact? Or are you grounded, intentional, and aware of your energy? Start noticing. Start adjusting. You don't need to change your personality to own your presence. You just need to stop abandoning yourself in every moment. When you come home to yourself, your presence speaks louder than words ever could. In truth, presence is about respect, respect for others, and most importantly, for yourself. When you give someone your full attention, you're saying, "You matter." When you give yourself that same attention, you're saying, "I matter." That inner shift is what people feel when you walk into the room. That's what creates presence. The decision to show up fully for yourself and for others. It's not about pretending to be confident. It's about being deeply connected to who you are in that moment. And when you start showing up like that consistently, the world around you begins to shift. Not because it changed, but because you did. Your words are not just sounds, they are tools, weapons, bridges, and mirrors. Every word you speak shapes how others see you, how you see yourself, and how your life unfolds. When you speak without thinking, you give your power away. But when you speak with intention, you reclaim control over how your voice impacts the world. Intentional speech is not about being perfect with your words. It's about being purposeful. It's the difference between reacting and responding, between talking and communicating. It's the discipline of aligning your words with your values. Too many people speak out of habit, not thought. We repeat what we've heard, say what's easy, or speak to fill silence. But intention requires us to pause, even for a second, and ask, why am I saying this? Who is it helping? Is it true? Is it necessary? That pause is where emotional intelligence lives. It's where we shift from impulsive to impactful. When you speak with intention, your words stop being random sounds in the air. They become instruments of clarity, compassion, and strength. People start to listen, not because you're louder, but because you're real. There's immense power in the way you speak about others. Gossip might win attention for a moment, but it always costs you your integrity. Words laced with bitterness, sarcasm, or judgment don't just hurt the person they target, they damage the speaker's own energy. But when your words uplift, support, and build, they create trust. People feel safer around you. They open up. They respect you, not just for what you say, but for how you say it. Speaking with intention means choosing words that heal more than they harm, and that clarify more than they confuse. Equally important is how you speak about yourself. So many people unknowingly weaken their own identity with casual self-criticism. "I'm such an idiot. I'll never get it right. I always mess things up. These aren't harmless jokes, they're declarations. Your subconscious hears everything you say. When you speak poorly about yourself, you train your mind to believe it. Intentional speech means speaking life into your identity. It means replacing negative self-talk with truth. I made a mistake, but I'm learning. This is hard, but I'm growing. The way you speak to yourself sets the tone for how the world will speak to you. Tone matters just as much as words. You can say the right thing the wrong way, and the impact is lost. Intention means being aware not only of what you're saying, but how you're saying it. Are you speaking with calm or aggression, confidence or defensiveness, clarity or confusion? Great communicators don't just think before they speak. They feel before they speak. They consider the emotional impact. They speak with rhythm, with breath, with meaning. And because of that, their words carry more weight with fewer syllables. Intentional speech is a daily practice. It's about raising the standard of your language, not to impress, but to inspire. It doesn't mean you always say the perfect thing. It means you care enough to try. It means you own your voice and use it to reflect who you truly are. Whether you're speaking to a friend, a stranger, a team, or yourself, speak with the kind of care and conviction that builds connection, not confusion. Because your voice is your message. And when you learn to speak with intention, you stop wasting words and start changing lives. Mastering your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. It doesn't mean pretending to be calm when you're angry or faking happiness when you're hurting. Mastery means understanding, processing, and channeling your emotions in a way that serves you rather than sabotages you. Emotions are powerful. They are signals, not enemies. They are meant to inform you, not control you. And the difference between someone who is reactive and someone who is resilient lies in their ability to feel deeply without being driven recklessly. Too often, people confuse emotional intensity with strength, but there is no strength in losing control. Exploding in anger, collapsing in anxiety, or drowning in jealousy may feel natural. But natural isn't always helpful. Anyone can react. Anyone can lash out, shut down, or spiral. But the person who can pause, breathe, and choose their response, that's the person who holds real power. When you master your emotions, you stop being a puppet to your triggers. You stop letting external chaos dictate your internal state. You become steady in a world that's always shaking. Emotional mastery begins with awareness. You cannot manage what you don't recognize. Start asking yourself throughout the day, what am I feeling right now? Why? Is this reaction based on the present moment or an old wound I haven't healed? Sometimes we carry emotions that aren't even ours. We inherit emotional patterns from childhood, from trauma, from past relationships, and we let them lead our lives without even realizing it. Mastery is choosing to break the cycle. It's having the courage to sit with uncomfortable emotions without acting on them immediately. Feel them fully, but respond consciously. You must understand that emotions are messengers, not dictators. Anger might be pointing to a boundary that's been crossed. Sadness might be highlighting a part of you that needs care. Fear might be trying to protect you. But from what? You must become curious about your emotional patterns, not ashamed of them. This curiosity is what opens the door to healing. When you become emotionally intelligent, you don't ignore your feelings, you navigate them. You understand that emotions are temporary, but the actions they inspire can be permanent. That's why mastery matters. Another key to emotional mastery is learning how to create space between stimulus and response. Someone says something that offends you. Your first impulse might be to snap back, to defend yourself, to hurt them the way they hurt you. But that impulse, if acted on, often leads to regret. Mastery means pausing. It means creating just enough distance between the feeling and the action to make a better choice. This pause doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It's not about bottling emotions. It's about expressing them in ways that build relationships rather than break them. Finally, understand that emotional mastery is not a one-time achievement. It's a lifelong practice. Some days you'll feel grounded and composed. Other days you'll feel overwhelmed and reactive. That's okay. Mastery is not perfection. It's progress. It's the daily commitment to show up better than you did yesterday. It's realizing that your emotions are part of your humanity, but not the whole of your identity. When you can feel fully without losing yourself, when you can express your truth without hurting others, when you can remain calm in the middle of emotional storms, that is when you begin to master your emotions. And in doing so, you master your life. The pursuit of perfection is one of the greatest traps in personal development. It sounds noble. Who wouldn't want to be flawless? But perfection is a myth. A lie dressed up as a goal, and chasing it doesn't make you stronger. It makes you exhausted. It creates anxiety, self-doubt, and an unhealthy obsession with appearances. Growth, on the other hand, is real. It's raw. It's messy. It's honest. When you embrace growth over perfection, you stop trying to look like you have it all together, and you start doing the actual work of becoming better, one imperfect step at a time. Perfection whispers, don't make mistakes. Growth says, learn from them. Perfection is rigid. It demands everything now, without failure, without flaws. But growth is flexible. It understands that falling down is part of moving forward. When you value growth, you stop measuring yourself by how perfect your life looks, and you start measuring by how much you've learned, how far you've come, and how willing you are to keep showing up. You realize that the best people you know, the wisest, the strongest, the most compassionate, didn't become that way by being perfect. They became that way by growing through what tried to break them. Embracing growth requires humility. You have to admit you don't know it all. You have to be okay with being a beginner again and again. It's hard, especially in a world that pressures you to appear competent at all times. But humility is not weakness, it's strength. It means you're open to feedback, you're open to being wrong, you're open to change. And only when you are open can you actually grow. The person who pretends to know it all stops evolving. But the person who's willing to ask questions, to unlearn, to try and fail, they move forward. A growth mindset changes how you handle failure. When perfection is your goal, failure feels like proof that you're not good enough. But when growth is your goal, failure becomes a teacher. Every mistake holds a lesson if you're willing to listen. That job you didn't get, the relationship that didn't work out, the decision you regret, they're not just disappointments. They're invitations to understand yourself more deeply, to build resilience, and to come back wiser. Perfection says, you failed, so stop trying. Growth says, you failed, so now you know more. This mindset also reshapes how you view other people. When you demand perfection from yourself, you often begin to expect it from others, and that leads to criticism, frustration, and broken relationships. But when you embrace growth, you develop more compassion. You understand that everyone is in process. Everyone is navigating their own struggles. And just as you want grace for your imperfections, you start offering it to others. You become less judgmental, more supportive, more human. Growth builds connection. Perfection builds walls. Ultimately, embracing growth is a choice you make daily. It's in the way you respond when things go wrong. It's in how you treat yourself when you fall short. It's in the courage to try again, even when you're scared of failing again. Growth isn't loud or flashy. It's quiet, consistent, and powerful. It happens in the small decisions, the tiny shifts, the private moments of honesty with yourself. When you choose growth over perfection, you stop performing and start transforming. And that transformation, however slow or subtle, becomes the foundation of a personality that inspires, leads, and uplifts, not because it's flawless, but because it's real. Integrity is the foundation upon which every powerful personality is built. It's not a trait you're born with. It's a practice you commit to day after day in every choice you make. Integrity means being whole, consistent, and truthful even when no one is watching. It's the quiet strength that underpins your actions and words, the invisible thread that connects who you are on the inside with how you show up on the outside. Without integrity, everything else, confidence, charisma, respect, crumbles like a house built on sand. At its core, integrity is about aligning your values with your actions. It's easy to say the right things, to promise the moon, to paint a picture of who you want to be. But the real test comes in the moments when following through is inconvenient, costly, or uncomfortable. Do you keep your word when it's hard? Do you admit your mistakes instead of covering them up? Do you treat people fairly even when there's no reward? Building unshakable integrity means showing up the same way, consistently, regardless of the audience or circumstance. It's the ultimate form of self-respect. One of the greatest challenges to integrity is the temptation to take shortcuts, whether in your work, your relationships, or your personal growth. In a fast-paced world that rewards quick wins, it's easy to bend the truth, cut corners, or avoid accountability. But those shortcuts erode trust. Once broken, trust is almost impossible to rebuild. People sense when something isn't genuine, even if they can't put their finger on it. True integrity demands patience and courage. It's choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. It's a commitment to long-term honor over short-term gain. Integrity also means being honest with yourself. Self-deception is one of the most damaging forms of dishonesty. It's tempting to justify our mistakes, to ignore our flaws, or to blame external circumstances for our failures. But true integrity begins with brutal honesty about who you are, what you want, and where you've fallen short. When you face yourself without excuses, you open the door to real growth. You start to build a personality rooted in authenticity, not in masks or pretense. This self-honesty fuels your ability to stand firm in your principles, even when pressure to conform is intense. Another essential part of integrity is accountability. This means taking responsibility for your actions without shifting blame or making excuses. It means acknowledging when you've hurt someone or made a wrong decision and committing to make it right. Accountability builds trust in your relationships and strengthens your character. When people know you hold yourself accountable, they feel safer around you. They know you're dependable and reliable. Integrity isn't just a private virtue, it's a public commitment to being someone others can count on. Building unshakable integrity is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You will make mistakes. You will face moments of weakness. But integrity is measured by what you do next. Do you apologize? Do you learn? Do you recommit? This ongoing cycle of commitment and correction creates a deep reservoir of trustworthiness that no circumstance can shake. When your integrity is unshakable, your personality carries weight beyond words. People don't just listen to you, they believe you. And in a world hungry for authenticity, that is the greatest gift you can give yourself and those around you. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you or counting blessings on good days. Radical gratitude is a way of life, a deep, intentional practice that transforms how you see yourself, others, and the world around you. It's a mindset that refuses to be defeated by hardship or distracted by what's missing. Instead, it chooses to focus on what is present, what is good, and what can be celebrated. When you practice radical gratitude, you begin to unlock a source of joy and resilience that no external circumstance can take away. One of the most powerful effects of radical gratitude is how it rewires your brain. Science tells us that the brain is wired to notice problems and threats first. It's a survival mechanism, but gratitude trains your mind to look for goodness instead. It rewires your neural pathways to focus on abundance rather than scarcity. This shift is subtle but profound. When you begin to notice the small moments, like a smile from a stranger, the warmth of sunlight, or the sound of laughter, you cultivate a deeper appreciation for life itself. This appreciation then radiates outward, coloring every interaction with positivity and presence. Gratitude also deepens your relationships. When you genuinely appreciate someone, whether it's a friend, family member, or colleague, and express it, you create a powerful connection. People feel seen, valued, and uplifted. This connection builds trust and warmth that money or status can never buy. But radical gratitude goes further than surface level thanks. It's about recognizing the effort, kindness, and love that others pour into your life, often unnoticed. It's about celebrating people for who they are, not just what they do. This practice shifts your focus from what's wrong in your relationships to what's working, and it transforms the way you show up for others. Practicing gratitude is also a powerful antidote to comparison and envy, two of the most destructive emotions in today's world. When you focus on what you don't have or what others seem to possess, you drain your energy and cloud your joy. Radical gratitude pulls you back from that spiral. It grounds you in your own story and your own blessings. You begin to understand that everyone has a unique journey, and your worth is not dependent on how you measure up to others. Instead, it's found in recognizing and embracing the richness of your own life, however imperfect or challenging it may be. Gratitude invites humility. When you acknowledge that so much of what you have, your health, your opportunities, your relationships, is not guaranteed, you develop a deeper sense of humility. This humility softens your heart and opens you to greater compassion. You stop taking things for granted and start appreciating the miracle of everyday moments. This doesn't mean ignoring pain or injustice. Rather, it means holding your gratitude alongside your struggles, allowing both to coexist. This balance cultivates strength and grace, making your personality more grounded and relatable. Finally, radical gratitude is a form of leadership. When you lead with gratitude, you set a tone of positivity and possibility that others want to follow. Gratitude creates an environment where people feel motivated, appreciated, and inspired. It's contagious. When you model gratitude, you invite others to step into their own power and joy. Your personality becomes a beacon of hope and light in a world that often feels dark and divided. Gratitude, practiced radically and authentically, is one of the most transformative qualities you can cultivate, not just for yourself, but for everyone whose life you touch. Leading with love is not a weakness. It is the greatest strength you can embody. In a world that often celebrates power, control, and competition, choosing love as your guiding principle is revolutionary. Love here is not sentimental or soft, it is fierce, courageous, and rooted in deep respect for yourself and others. When you lead with love, you choose connection over division, understanding over judgment, and generosity over scarcity. This approach transforms not just your relationships, but your entire presence in the world. Love as a leadership principle demands vulnerability. It asks you to show up as your authentic self, with all your flaws, fears, and uncertainties. This vulnerability creates trust because it says, I am human, just like you. When people see your willingness to be real, they feel safe to do the same. Love breaks down walls. It dissolves the barriers of pride and ego that keep us isolated. When you lead with love, you build bridges between people, communities, and ideas. You create spaces where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. Leading with love means practicing radical empathy. It means striving to understand others' experiences, perspectives, and emotions, even when they differ from your own. Empathy is not about agreeing with everyone, it's about honoring their humanity. When you lead with empathy, you don't rush to judge or dismiss. Instead, you listen deeply and respond thoughtfully. This creates powerful connections and diffuses conflict. Love turns opposition into opportunity, competition into collaboration. It is the force that unites rather than divides. Love also requires patience and forgiveness, not only toward others but toward yourself. We all make mistakes. We all fall short of our ideals. Leading with love means embracing imperfection as part of the human journey. It means offering grace when others fail and extending that same grace inward. This attitude softens harshness and allows growth to flourish. When you hold space for imperfection with compassion, you inspire others to do the same. You become a leader who nurtures rather than controls, who uplifts rather than diminishes. When you lead with love, you make decisions from a place of generosity rather than fear. Fear-based leadership clings tightly to power, is defensive, and often reactive. Love-based leadership, by contrast, is proactive, inclusive, and forward-thinking. It prioritizes the well-being of the collective over individual gain. This shift in mindset changes everything. How you solve problems, how you motivate others, and how you handle challenges. Leading with love creates a ripple effect. It encourages those around you to act with kindness and integrity, setting a new standard for what leadership can be. Love as a leadership style is not always easy. It challenges you to rise above ego, to resist the temptation to dominate or control, and to choose connection even when it feels risky. But the rewards are profound. Leading with love doesn't just change the world around you, it transforms you from the inside out. It expands your heart, sharpens your courage, and deepens your purpose. When love leads, your personality becomes magnetic, not because you command attention, but because you inspire devotion. And in that devotion lies true, lasting influence. You don't need to wait for a new job, a new year, or a new relationship to become someone extraordinary. You just need to start showing up differently, daily. Improve your presence, speak with purpose, master your emotions, grow without apology, stand on integrity, choose gratitude, and above all, lead with love. That's not just personality, that's power, and it's built not in leaps, but in the quiet, daily steps you take when no one's clapping. This is your reminder you don't need to become someone else. You just need to become more of who you were meant to be. Start today. Start now.